The legend of One Piece and One Piece as well starts with the famed pirate king, Goldie Roger. And while a lot have tried to do so, Monkey D. Luffy seems to be the one destined to repeat Roger's legacy, and become the next pirate king in the world of Eiichiro Oda's narrative. In order to do so, Luffy will have to rely on the help of his friends, his allies, as well as his own powers. However, recently, it has been revealed that Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi is actually the mythical 𝙬𝚘𝚙𝚎 no Mi, which gave Luffy the powers of the Sun God Nikka. And in this video, we are going to explain whether that means that Luffy is actually a god himself or not. Although deities were by no means something unknown in the world of One Piece, until recently, no one really talked about them seriously. But things changed in Wano country, as Eiichiro Oda revealed a shocking truth about Luffy and his devil fruit, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, as it had been known until then was actually the legendary 𝙬𝚘𝚙𝚎 no Mi, model Nika. Alongside activating Gear 5, Luffy also activated the true powers of his devil fruit, which made him so ridiculously strong that he easily defeated Kaido in their epic clash. Now, since Nika was introduced to be the sun god of Oda's world, many people began to wonder whether this means that Luffy is a god or not. But before we give our final answer, we'll quickly introduce Nika. Both legendary and mythical, Nika was a warrior who some slaves revered in the past as the sun god. 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚎𝚛, who was imprisoned at the time and learned about the tradition from one of the guards in his prison, made the first reference to it. Nika appears to be a dancing figure with flame-like hair, and a loincloth based on her figure appearance. In his hands, he has both a sword and a spear, according to what has been shown. 𝙲𝚘𝚙's version of the folklore depicts Nika as a brave and kind character who made friends with slaves. It was thought that Nika, who could make the slaves smile, would one day arrive and liberate them from their cruel lords. According to mythology, Nika was a formidable combatant. He can be seen in his silhouette wielding a spear and a sword. He is said to as a white and liberating warrior, whose pranks make everyone laugh and who won't go as long as people need him. Slaves had revered Nika for a very long time because they thought he would one day set them free. Nika's existence may or may not have genuinely existed, nevertheless. A prison guard informed 𝙲𝚘𝚙, who was once part of the CP9 group and had been imprisoned, of the mythology. 𝙲𝚘𝚙 subsequently started praying to Nika in an effort to find relief from his own suffering. He assumed that the legend was not intended to be spread, and that the world government or another party had done something to the jail guard, when he discovered that the same guard who had informed him about it had abruptly vanished. He subsequently made the decision to escape his imprisonment, so that he could avoid receiving a potentially heavier sentence for knowing too much about Nika. During their altercation, 𝙲𝚘𝚙 brought up Nika to Jinbei because he thought the fishman race were slaves, and he wanted to know more about the legend. However, Jinbei didn't respond to 𝙲𝚘𝚙 but became enraged when he compared fishman to slavery and thrashed him with his fishman karate. Now that we know who Nika is and what his role in the mythology of One Piece is, we can proceed with our explanation of Luffy's nature. Now, Nika is considered to be the sun god in the lore of One Piece, but he is, as we have seen so far, not an actual deity in the traditional sense of the word. He is revered as one, but he is far from a traditional sun god in that aspect. Alongside him, it is said that there are three other gods: the rain god, the earth god, and the forest god. Their identities have not been revealed yet. As things stand now, it seems that the powers of these gods are somehow contained within special devil fruits, and that their possessors can access them by unlocking them. Whether this is true or not is unknown at this moment, but if it is, we have no clue whether the actual possessors of these devil fruits, if they are even owned by someone, know of their true natures. However, many people speculate that the rain god might be either Monkey D. Dragon or Vivi, that Blackbeard could be the earth god, and that Admiral Aramaki could be the forest god, but as I have said, this is all pure speculation. What we do know is that Luffy has inherited the powers of Nika, the sun god. By combining his devil fruit powers with Gear 5, Luffy has become extremely powerful and is able to defeat Kaido, thanks to his new divine powers. But does that mean that he is a god now? Well, no. Luffy never actually changed in any way. He is still the same old human kid who ate Shanks' stolen devil fruit out of spite, and now wants to become the pirate king. Nothing changed with Luffy, and the fact that he actually does have the sun god's powers doesn't influence his nature in any way. This confirms that he is actually not a god. But, he could be considered as a god, although this is a symbolic interpretation. Namely, as someone who uses the powers of the sun god Nika, Luffy is actually an embodiment of this god and is thus the current iteration of him, that is, he is a god. This could apply to the other three gods as well, but this is a purely symbolic interpretation that has nothing to do with Luffy's nature. Be that as it may, these gods are still a big enigma in Oda's lore, and we'll have to wait for him to clarify things before we know anything with certainty. And that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I also asked you to subscribe to help us. It will also help us to grow more, and if you like, please subscribe.